doing. So let me go through a couple things we're going to do. We got a little bit of review here, and we're going to be covering 3 different areas, kind of the why, what, and how. We'll do the review on why and what, which we covered yesterday. And I'm not sure if you folks that are here now, looks like some of you were here yesterday, but it's kind of the timing of these things are very difficult. When to run webinars. In fact, if you could do me a favor, those of you that are on right now, let me know when is a good time for us to do this kind of training, this long format, like hour long with an hour of or a half hour of Q&A, that kind of stuff usually afterwards. What is a good day for that? You know, we know Sunday mornings doesn't work. We've done them every day of the week. We've tried all sorts of different things, but you just, if you could let us know what works for you, if you like Fridays, if you like Thursdays, if you like, you know, 2 in the morning on Monday night, whatever, you know, those would be great. So, but anyway, we did one yesterday. We're doing one today, dealing more with the how stuff. And then we're going to cover our Q&A time, and I'll put the big Q&A up there for you so you can see that. And if you have any questions anytime, the way this works is you can write the questions in the feed there, and I'll do my best to answer them live. Sometimes we have a lot of questions, sometimes we don't have many, but if you have any, that's what we want to do, is be able to give those to you. So let's just hit just a little touch of review here from yesterday for those of you that weren't here yesterday. And again, if you're coming on new, please let me know what state you're from. If you could type in what state you're from, that would be great. Also, if you got any audio problems, just type "I can hear you." That would be helpful. So this is our church out in Sinclair, Wyoming. Beautiful old building, old hotel we bought, and renovating it. Doing lots of work on it. In fact, this next week, we're in a refinery town. That's what it looks like kind of out the window. Not a lot of trees around, but a lot of evaporation and towers and all sorts of different things that have to do with making gasoline, and that's what we're famous for. My ministry started there. I was in youth evangelism for years and worked with, since 1988 with the Baptist Youth Mission, helping churches reach the people, the children of their community, and reach young families of their community, with innovative training and, those type of things that we've done. And so that's what we're doing. I planted this church just about 12 years ago now. And so excited about that, coming up on our 13th anniversary, in fact. A lot of the work that I did in the past had to do with smaller camps. I mean, I put it this way, we took our kids to the bigger camps, and that was always great. So we took our kids to those places, but I did a lot of smaller camps and a lot of, discipleship kind of things where you spent just a little bit of time doing some backpacking or hiking or camping. And I wanted to kind of have that experience because I knew that was good. And the day camp situation was, came because of some of that background where I wanted to build more relationships. So yesterday we covered this whole idea of why day camps, and it was a lot of fun doing that yesterday. I will just give you the bullet points here so you can kind of see them. First of all, we consider them an acquisition event. If you're not familiar with that term, acquisition event, this is a good thing. This is an event that you do at your church that is not tied to, necessarily revival or prophecy or a lot of Bible teaching. It's more kind of a how do you get to know you type of thing. Many churches do community type things where, where you just kind of get to know people. Perhaps you've been in a parade. Obviously, a parade isn't a good place for discipleship, or a county fair where you hand out, literature about the church, make animal balloons for all the kids. It's sort of the get to know you thing. And we look at a day camp as that light. And if you are a smaller church, and we work with a lot of smaller churches, and you're interested in really reaching out and bringing in new families, not other church families, but just new families that have never been reached before, then you are in the right place, and you need to run these as an acquisition event. It is something that we do specifically aimed towards bringing in new people. The second thing, and I have a couple of pictures I want to show you. This lady here and her son, this actually is a 10-year-old photo. These people have been in church nearly every service, everything we do since we acquired them. In this photo here, this was a lost lady. We had the program. She brought her kid. We were doing some fun little rappelling things on a day camp. You can see it's not very dangerous because it's flat ground basically where they're rappelling, but she came and brought some kids, some of the other relatives. She ended up about 3 weeks later getting saved. Just an amazing story, and just thrilled. Again, acquisition event. The second thing is we look at day camps as a chance to get our kids involved in some type of service, where regular traditional camping ministry has a lot of discipleship and a lot of preaching. We want there to be some type of outlet for our kids. And if you're new and you have a small church, and sometimes camps are far away. I mean, for us, they're very expensive and they're also very far away. We reach new families, brand new families, and say, hey, you need to spend $200 or $300 to send your kid to camp. They're like, whoa, that's not going to work. So we came up with the day camps to reach those families and to have those kids do something that was service oriented. Here's a picture of our kids going out and painting this giant S on the hill outside of the town of Sinclair. Hadn't been done for 40 years probably, and we were able to get that thing painted up and make it look nice. So service opportunities. And the last thing is what I call parental involvement. This is something that is totally pretty much absent anyway in traditional camps, but it is a way for parents to be involved. And if you are on here, you have probably got a burden for reaching young families and reaching new young families. And let me say something, parents want to be involved with their kids. Every study has shown that like 96% of parents believe that they are responsible for teaching and training their children in the way they should go. But they just not that involved. And why is that? Because of the 2 jobs and all the other things going on. And we give them an opportunity to get involved with their kids in a local church environment. And many of these parents that come are unsaved parents. They're hearing the gospel. They're in a car riding with somebody, hearing about the Lord. They're seeing godly people. They're saying, hey, my kid needs to be in this kind of environment rather than, than one he was in last Friday night or whatever when he got in trouble. And so getting parents involved is a huge part of our ministry. At Sinclair Baptist, we focus very specifically on the idea of reaching out to elementary age moms and dads. And we have our programmatic emphasis towards that. Very similar to, and I know we get a little pushback sometimes on that. People go, oh, we need to reach everybody. Now, I'm talking about the programmatic emphasis. Like, for example, a Spanish church would primarily do Spanish outreach and print things in Spanish and reach out to Spanish communities. We reach out towards elementary age moms and dad communities. We get to the ball games, we get to the Little League, we go to the things at the school there, we promote there and have a lot of programmatic stuff. And thus we reach people of every age. But we want parents to be involved. And so here's just a couple photos. Here's a guy, unsaved dad, want to spend time. In fact, I don't think he even has custody or whatever with the child. He doesn't see this girl all the time. I'm not quite sure on the status of that, but that seemed to be the case. Here's a mom got to spend some time with 2 of her girls, and you can see we took them rappelling, and she was just so thrilled that her kids got to do that. And here's another parent and this young girl leaning over, named Sharon, leaning on her daddy's leg there. She's tired. She'd been horseback riding. We'd done all sorts of fun stuff. It was great. And what's really special about this picture is just shortly thereafter, Charles passed away, and he's gone now. But this is one of those great memories that we were able to create, as a local church. Another one of my favorites Jay Hudson and his son Austin, just kind of his dad's explaining something, pointing out over there. I think they're looking out where the Oregon Trail came through or whatever, and talking about people, traveling across the great desert of the West is where we live, and just some neat stuff. And Jay came on almost every single day camp that we had until just last year when he moved back to his home of Michigan. So anyway, that little bit of review there. What is a day camp? And if you missed this, it is a all-day, multi-age field trip style, outreach-oriented local church acquisition event. That's a lot, okay? But it's a lengthy event. We want you to make sure that you keep them long. If you do them for 2 hours or whatever, you just fall into the category of being a teacher. And nothing wrong, teachers are great, and Sunday school teachers are great, preachers are great, but you know what? All of those have to do with short term. The most trusted profession in America today is a child care worker, and they carry with that longevity. In other words, they're with kids for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, maybe even, kind of the nanny type thing where they watch the kids for several days while someone is out of town. When you run a day camp, you want it to be long. And we went through some stuff yesterday. Well, you'll see some more things today of things that you can do to keep it long and have fun with the kids. It's not 6 hours of preaching, that's for sure. But ours run actually from 8 in the morning till 8 at night. They're very long and in depth, and there's so many benefits to that. They're field trip style, which in other words, we're doing educational stuff. We're traveling around, going to many, many, many places, and we're very excited about how all that works. We get to educate the kids and do a lot of kind of teachable moment type things. They're outreach oriented, as I mentioned, in the acquisition type thing, and they're our church event. It's really a great event that we have. So I want to give you, here's a couple of benefits we covered yesterday. They build church unity. Our whole church gets behind these things. The teenagers come and actually work it, and they are the ones that do all the carrying of this and carrying of that and moving the food and helping us move the kids. So we use our teenagers. We have adults that come and help, some sponsors. Some of them don't even have kids. They just want to come and be with the kids. We have adults that donate money so poor kids can go. That kind of thing. It also creates teen leaders, as I mentioned, having the teens be involved in doing stuff. We give them these little orange vests to wear and green vests, and they just love being in a position of authority. And we then train them and teach them how to do that. It builds strong homes, and this is one of the great benefits of the day camp compared to just about any other ministry. A preaching ministry, you will talk about a strong home and maybe give some biblical truth to that. In a Sunday school lesson, you might give some nuts and bolts on how to have a strong home. But on a day camp, you're actually working with kids and doing things. And if like there is kids are angry or kids are hungry or someone gets bit by a bee and needs to be comforted or whatever, you get to do all that right there with the parents, and it helps them see godly examples. And I'm telling you, these moms and dads that come from broken homes, and by the way, no one ever got married with the idea of having a broken home. They don't want that. They don't like it. They know it's not best, and they absolutely love hanging out and spending 6, 8, 12 hours with a bunch of godly people. So then they go, hey, why can't you act like, Mr. Mike's kid? Hey, why can't you act like that girl? She's very well behaved. They can leverage all that in the right way, and they can see how moms and dads respond to their kids, and so it is a great thing. And then it's also just a simple ministry. This is not a complex thing. We had a question yesterday, and I really. It was a good question about how do you get going on these things? How do you get a day camp started? And they're really not that complex. If you were going to go to another camp, there's a lot of, you got to have sleeping bags and all this transportation and counselors and, all that kind of stuff. If you're doing your own church camp, it's food and, all sorts of different things like that. With this, it's pretty much, we sign up a bunch of kids, we do a little permission slip kind of a thing that we have, and we load them up in some vehicles. We use a lot of the church members' cars, and and trucks and Suburbans, and we have a church van that we use, and then we just go and we go do the thing. And you can plan. The best way to get going is put one on the calendar. Just say, hey, we're going to do something on June 26th or whatever the day is, and just say, hey, look, we're going to go, we're going to do it. And that's just the best way to get things going. So anyway, that was kind of some of our things. Let's see, I jumped to the next one here. Definition, I think we covered that. The benefits, relationships, you know, people spending time together. I mean, look at the relationships here with these kids, you know, and their counselor. This is one of the teens that was a worker, and just kind of the, you know, what goes on there and how they start to bond. So just a powerful, powerful thing. So, all right, we're going to jump into how to run a day camp, some of the nuts and bolts of this. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put those on. And if you've got comments too on, if you can't hear or something along that line, I appreciate you put that on there. Brother Curtis, good to see you. Thelma, good to have you here. If you want to put on your time of your, that's good for webinars. When webinars good for you, that's always something helpful too. Just get a little bit of feedback there, and always excited to get that. So how to actually run one of these things? Well, we're going to go through several things. I'm going to give you, you're going to hit the kind of some things here. I'll put all these up real quick, and we're going to come back to some of these in just a moment. The idea of staffing, you know, who runs it, the registration process, the finance, transportation, talk a little bit about food situation, and then follow up. Man, that's the best. So we're going to cover all of that in just a little bit. I want to give you, though, I also promised this yesterday to you, that I would give you the kind of some of the secret ingredients, some of the little things that kind of help make all this kind of come together in a really smooth way. So I have the first one here is the word playgrounds. Playgrounds. Now, when we think of kids out there, you know, doing stuff or activities, we don't necessarily think of playgrounds, but when you aim this, and by the way, the day camps are kind of aimed towards an elementary age activity. In other words, not something super activity like a teenagers would do with all the big sports stuff and the big ball and soccer and softball and all that, but a little bit more kid oriented. One of the things that we have found is just excellent is you load the kids up, and the lady asked yesterday, we were talking about it, to do a day camp. It's, yeah, you load the kids up, and the first stop is just go to the next town over, go to, you know, whichever direction you go, and go to their playground and let everybody out and use the bathrooms, that kind of thing, and let the kids play. There's a difference between teenagers and elementary age kids. If you drop a bunch of teenagers off in a big park, they're going to go, okay, we got to organize something, you know, they're going to play soccer, we're going to, you know, they're wondering what to do. You turn kids loose as shown in this picture, and what do? They just run to the swing sets. They just run to the merry-go-round thing. They just run up on the deal, and they spend some time playing. Now, you may not think that this is a big ministry thing because, you know, hey, we're preachers and we exposit the word and all that. But let me say something. An important part of a life of a child is for them to play. And as a pastor or a church leader, when you're with them and you let them play for, you know, 30 or 40 minutes and have a good time on that, there's a bonding level that starts to happen there. There's just a lot of fun. And I get on the swings with them. I push them on the swings, and we play freeze tag, like on this particular whatever you call it, playground, where you got the slide going up and down. You know how to play freeze tag. Once you touch somebody, can't move. We just play games like that for 30, 40 minutes, and there's really nothing to it. It is just so much fun. We get all the kids on one of these spinny things. They love it, and they all start spinning and seeing how far they can go. And this is a simple thing. This is where it is simple. You load the kids up, and you go to the next town. And you're going to do some other things. You're maybe going to stop at a museum or go to a fish hatchery or do some other adventure-based thing. We'll talk about that in a minute. But you just stop at a playground and have fun for a while. And all the parents kind of sit under a shade tree and talk for a while, and all the kids go romp around and do that kind of stuff. This particular playground, I always do this. Once we start play, after we play for a little while, I start kind of something silly. It's like, all right, let's see if we can, walk on this deal. And what we did is we walked on there, and then we ran all the way around. It went all the way around the whole playground, and we started like a race. We got like a stopwatch, and just like said, all right, see who can run on the white thing all the way around without touching the ground, and we'll see how you can do. And all this is family oriented kind of stuff. And I'm just being a big dad there to them and having a blast with them. We create a little obstacle course. Kind of a thing where you got to run around it, then you got to run up the slide backwards, and then you got to climb down the stairs and spin around on the thing once, and then we stop the watch. And they have so much fun, and you're just doing family stuff. And all the time in here too, you're looking for teachable moments, because the day camps are not filled with a lengthy 45-minute or an hour sit down and I'm going to teach you a lesson. These are the kind of things where you can just sit and you can talk about things that happen. We had one where we were going across a stream, and we all got soaking wet, and it was a blast. And I remember talking about how Jesus, if he was here, he had the capacity to walk on water. And I'll have to tell you that story someday, kids. In fact, you need to come to church on Sunday. What are you guys doing on Sunday? And again, a lot of these are unchurched kids. So, hey, Sunday at 9:30, we got a Sunday school class, and we're going to be teaching about and you talk about it. But this man, Jesus, he walked on top of the water. You and I are walking in the water. He walked on the water. He was remarkable. You'll need to learn about him. He's a cool guy. You're going to need to learn. So once you come to church, Sunday at 9:30, that kind of moment. There's so many of those kind of things, where you can do it. So just some more kids having some fun. Here's a overload on the teeter totter. They were having a blast. Doing that kind of stuff. So going to a playground, and one of the things you can do is if you do several day camps throughout the summer is, you can go over to the next town over. And believe me, the kids in the next town over, they know about that town. They know it's theirs, next one down the highway, whatever, but they hardly ever have gone to the playground there. They hardly ever have done any of that, and that is such a good thing for them to hit some of those things. So one of the secrets, and like I say, it's a very simple secret, is playgrounds. The second one, no electronics. Now I don't have any slide pictures for this, but just what we do is we start out at the very beginning. We bring everybody into our church kind of fellowship hall, and we say, okay, here's what we're going to do. And I always draw a little map out. I say, we're going to go from here to here to here to here to here. We'll be back in such and such a time. And here's a couple of rules. Make sure you got a bottle of water. Make sure you got your sack lunch. Make sure you got some bug spray. Here's who's going to ride in what vehicle. And by the way, no cell phones, no Game Boys, no electronics, no iPads, no 55-inch television screens. Just don't bring that stuff. Inevitably, there'll be some kids that say, well, I have a phone and my mom needs to have, might need to call me. It's like, well, tell you what, I will hold your phone and I'll put it in my pocket. If she calls, I'll connect you. I like to take their phone and have it myself personally. Sometimes you have an older kid where you can say, well, just put it on vibrate, keep your phone in your pocket. The only reason you can take your phone out is to take pictures, but no one plays any games. No one listens to any music, no earbuds. And we just eliminate that off right at the beginning. In fact, I remember we did this very first time I had that guy I showed in a picture a few minutes back, the big guy, Jay. We were in the church van. I was driving the van. We had about 12 kids in the van. We were not 500 yards from the church, and all the kids are in the back, and someone said, turn the radio on. We want to listen to some music. I said, no, we're not doing it. And that Jay's like, well, why don't you just turn something on kind of low or whatever? I said, no, we just don't do any electronics. I said, you just wait. We hadn't driven maybe 15 miles. And I said, hey, listen. And he listened and put his ear back, the whole van's full of yak, 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 yak. They're all talking. They're all interacting with each other because there is no electronics. And so you want to hit all that right at the beginning when you do your orientation, and just make sure that they just don't have access to those things, or if they do, it's a very controlled type of thing. So secret number one, playgrounds. Secret number 2, no electronics. Number 3, t-shirts. Now this doesn't sound like much, but when we started doing t-shirts, there was an amazing thing happened. We started to create kind of a unity. It was like a giant family of people out there wearing these shirts. And I thought it would be cool. I said, wouldn't it, I talked to my staff, I said, wouldn't it be cool if someday we had like 500 t-shirts in our community? Now there's 500 advertisements of our church in the community. And every one of these t-shirts, and I'll show you some pictures in a moment, a little closer up, but every one of them on the sleeve, it says Sinclair Baptist. And we pay an extra $1 to get it, kind of put on the, I have a shirt on now, but it doesn't have Sinclair Baptist on it. This is my Reachkeep shirt. But we have Sinclair Baptist on every sleeve, and they're out there. And we've seen pictures in the newspaper. We've seen all sorts of prominent things on Facebook, and there's people taken at the county fair, whatever. And there's our Daycamp shirts. We now have thousands and thousands of little advertisers running all over our community for the day camps and some of the other activities we do that have t-shirts on them, and they have some semblance of they talk about the day camp and usually the date. These are from 2014 here. By the way, the 2 boys, the girl in the middle and the other boy, those are LDS kids. Those are Mormons, and we have Mormon kids come to this all the time. We have Catholic kids all the time. We have so much. In fact, the mother of those 2 Mormon kids came to me once, and she said, if my husband was not a biggie up, and I don't know what she called him, but something in the Mormon church, we would be at your church. We would come to your church because we love what you're doing. And that was cool. The other 2 boys, they were in church last week. So, and this is like say 2014. So yeah, some great stuff. Here's a day camp. What we do on the back is kind of put the dates of where we're going, and we got day camp on there on this one. And then we have we are his workmanship. That was kind of our theme for that particular year. And we always put a Bible verse on there. It just kind of makes it something to talk about. It kind of sort of gets the spiritual side of things kind of out in the open. Here's another one, Wyoming Streams and Dreams. We made these shirts. We get them printed some bulk place, and we get about 300 or 400 at a pop is when we do them now. That one has on the back streams in the desert and exploring Carbon County streams, rivers, and settlements. And so we went to all these different places and explored all these different streams. Here's one had a big boot print on it there. I remember that one. Here's one from just a couple years ago with a license plate kind of on the front of it. We really like that one. That one really turned good. And on the back, it had the kind of the element for carbon. We're in Carbon County, so we had the big C with from the periodical chart there on the back of that one. So it creates a great identity when they're all running around. People know that we're involved in something. By the way, you see the green vests here? Those are leaders. Those are people that have agreed to be my workers. And you see they're mixed right in with the kids. They're teens, they're helping, they organize things and all that. And if they have a green vest on, they do whatever I say on that day camp. And they know that. I meet with them ahead of time and give them some orientation on that. So. All right. Hey, if you're we had a couple of people jump on a little bit late here. Let me know what state you're from. That would be good. If you can hear me, that is good. That would be great. And then also we're putting on here, if you have any questions, about t-shirts or some of the secrets, the parks or whatever, you have a little box there on your screen. It says type comments here, and that's where it says questions. You would type your question in there and say, what do you do in this aspect of a day camp, or what do you do in that? And I'm going to answer some of those. Appreciate that. And then your favorite time for webinars. If you like, we got a Friday, we got a Saturday, we got a Thursday up there. So those are good. So we're just trying to figure out when the best place to do webinars is. So, all right. So we had playgrounds, we had no electronics, we had t-shirts. Okay. We've got another one here, 12 hours. Okay. What in the world does that mean? And this is, again, the secret. And I touched on this a little bit. Well, we talked about it yesterday at length, and it's just something here. I had a pastor, I don't think he's on with us here now. I don't see him in the list. I can read some of you here without my glasses. Anyway, he's like, You suggest 12 hours. That's a long. Okay. I mean, churches don't do anything 12 hours long. Churches don't do anything more than about 2 hours long. You know, they have like a Sunday school and another thing in about 2 hours, and that's about it. Maybe a little training, maybe choir practice, cantata thing. But this is the secret here, and one of the differences is we want you to take these kids out for longer amounts of time and learn their whole rhythm. You're going to get these kids when they're fired up and crazy. I remember these two boys, they're twins, and they were wild men, you know, but by the end of the day, guess what they were? They were tired wild men. They were a little grumpier, they're a little more tired. And when we took them home, their parents are like, you survived my kid. Man, I love you. High five, that kind of a thing. When the kids are excited and ready to do stuff, burn their energy off and have a good time. Here's a bunch of kids. We stopped on the side of the road and and I got in trouble for saying this word once, and I'm sorry if I offend you. I don't know what else to call this, and maybe you could suggest this. Um, it, uh, this is called, in my world, a Chinese fire drill. And I don't think that's a racist thing. I just think that's what it's called. But I don't even know why it's called that. You just stop your car, and everybody runs around the car and gets back in. Okay, if you got a better name for it, that's great. But we do these all the time, and the kids have never done that. So it's like I pull over on the side of the road, kind of a wide spot. So all right, everybody out, run around the cars. We run around 2 or 3 times to get back in. All the same cars because we have kind of assigned seating, but it is a blast. And this is just part of that lengthy day and spending that time there and just doing things and burning up time and having a blast and doing things together, and they have lots of energy there. They have lots of, these kids, we stopped on the side of the road and picked wild strawberries. Okay, this kid has got a whole handful of strawberries there. We were so full of excitement and all that kind of stuff. It was so great. But by the end of the day, that's what they look like on the way back. And they are all tuckered out. And I probably should have found some more pictures of sleeping people in the vehicle there. But the 12-hour thing is just good because it puts you into a new category. If you're a Sunday school teacher, God bless you. If you're a pastor, God bless you. I've done those things too. Okay. But that doesn't get me a automatic trust badge from a parent. But a child care worker or someone who has endured their kid the same way the parent has for 12 hours, you get a different level of trust that is applied to you by the parent. And again, it's not a biblical thing, it's just a human nature thing. The parent will trust you and lean on you and go, man, they had my kid. In fact, one of my favorite stories is I had a kid that really went berserk in one of my day camps, and he had a MP3 player of some sort, and back when they called them MP3 players, and I said, you need not have that. Let's go ahead. Why don't you give it to me? I'll set it up here. And he wouldn't give it to me, and then he started cussing, and it was just a real ugly situation in the van full of about 15 kids. I mean, he's F-wording me the whole thing. It was pretty rough. And it's like, we're going to take care of this right now. And as a parent would, and there were some other parents in there, went through the whole thing. He's like, we're not going to talk that way. We're not going to do this way. I explained the rules. Okay, da 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 da. I got a little frustrated with him. I said, I'm sorry, I just raised my voice. I'm not going to do that. Okay, so I apologize. And now let me show you how easy that is. Now you need to apologize. You're not going to cuss, right? And so we finally went through. We spent about 15 minutes going through all that. And I had a couple moms come to me later and said, man, I'm taking that boy right home. It's like, that's not what this is all about. This is not just sending the kid home. This is enduring a kid. And then when I did take the kid home at the end of the day, I took him to his house, and his dad said, man, you had my kid for a whole 12 hours, and to this day, that kid and his dad are close friends because we endured that. The dad found out that the kid had cussed me out and all that, and he loved me that much more because I had endured the same thing he had. I can't believe kids cuss their dads out anymore. The world is crazy, but that's what happens. But that happens on a 12-hour thing. You get them good, you get them bad, you endure them. A mom and dad, if they get cussed out by their kid or ignored, or the attitude, or roll the eyes, they don't have the option. They don't have the option of like sending the kid home. They are home. And we want to kind of bond with that a little bit. And so I have never sent a kid home, because of a discipline issue or anything like that. We've had a couple kids get sick, bad sick, and we actually took them to the hospital. So we've had a couple things like that, but never sent a kid home. So just want to kind of keep that in mind. So if you got any questions, go ahead. It's Q&A time. I'm going to take a drink of cool water here quick. You grab a drink too. We got several more things to cover. If you have joined us here recently, a couple people popped on late. Let me know what state you're from. I would appreciate that. And then in the question box right there, there's a question box. Go ahead and type your question in, and I'll get a drink of water. We'll be with you in just a second. All right, God bless you. Hey, for some of you know, I already told you this, I'm running solo here today. Tandem, my sidekick that does all the tech stuff, just had skin graft at the hospital for an amputation that he had to have, and he's doing well. And it's very excited to have him kind of on the mend, and he should come home today too. So. All right, let's see. 12 hours. Here's the question about the 12-hour thing. Yeah. What is the best day for the 12 hours? Well, here's how we do it. We usually ran our day camps on Tuesdays. Didn't interfere with any midweek stuff. It was just close enough to Sunday. Everybody was still fresh, AC in a couple days. So day camps are on Tuesdays for us. We start from 8 and go to 8. And that means that they get at the church at 8 and we have a little orientation. We don't leave the church till about 8:30. By the time they've all gone to the bathroom and they got all the everything they need, and some of them's already late. Make sure they got jackets, make sure they got good shoes if you're going to be hiking or running around. We recently, because we had so many kids, and I mentioned this yesterday, when you start opening this up to the community and you tell kids, hey, bring your best friend, whoever your best friend is, why don't you bring your best friend, and we're going to go to the fish hatchery, and then we're going to go to a museum, we're going to stop at a park, then we're going to go to the observation tower and have a paper airplane contest, throw paper airplanes off the tower, see how far they go. Parents just absolutely love it when you take their kids. And by the way, the lengthier thing too for parents, especially working parents, is if they can drop them off at 8 and get them sometime at least after 5 o'clock, then the parent doesn't have to spend money on childcare. And so that helps the whole thing. You get a higher attendance there because you are watching the kid for the entire day. So Tuesdays work really good. We recently had so many kids, we had to split our day camp, and we do a mirrored type thing. We do the exact same day camp 2 different days. Tuesday, skip a day, and then we do it on Thursday. And that has worked really good for us. And they sign up for either one. There's only a few of us, the leaders, that are at both of them, but that way it splits it up. And then we try to, some people are like, I can go to either. It's like, oh, good, we need you on this one because we got some more, ruffians coming, or we have more younger kids here. We'll need some more adults on that one. So Tuesdays and Thursdays work really, really good for us on that. So, all right, any other questions that you got, go ahead and type those in. Okay, we always get a question on registration stuff, and I'm going to cover that in just a little bit about what they sign up and all the paperwork. So I'll get back to the registration thing here in just a little bit. So let me keep moving here because time's a flying. All right, let's go back. So we had the playgrounds, electronics, t-shirts, the 12 hours. We get into. Here's one of the secrets is when we moved to this, it was great, is free parents. Moms and dads get to come for free. Now, on the pricing, and I'll just tell you what we have moved to, we started at free, and we found out that we have a lot of no-shows. And the bottom line on this, and it just works, if people pay for something, they respect it more, they're there on time. And then when we started buying t-shirts, there was the obvious thing. So we started $7. I think we were $7 for like one day camp and realized we really need to be at 10. And then when we got nicer t-shirts with stuff on the back, we moved to 15, and 15 is kind of where we've been for several years, and that has not chased anybody off. and we have all sorts of our older people in our church that scholarship the kids if they want to do that. And I try, the best way for them to scholarship is not to just miscellaneous give money for like 10 kids. I have them as a older person go to a family and say, I would like to pay for your 2 kids to go to day camp. And then you start building that relationship. So that is a much better way to do the scholarships. But parents get to go for free. And we have found so many moms, especially single moms, they want to be with their kids. They want to get out there and do stuff with their kids, and they just don't have opportunity. This is the opportunity for them to go camping and to do that kind of stuff that is out there. So parents get to come for free, and having parents along is one of the best things that you can imagine. They help as, setting up and taking down, and they're there just as a, sponsor. We had a question yesterday about what about unsaved parents? Absolutely, unsaved parents can come. Another question we had about, do you do background checks on non-church people that come? And the answer to that is no, not if they're there as observers. Okay, so they come and they're with their own kids, so there's nothing wrong with that. They're not in any secluded ever leadership position. They just be like I said, hey, just stay with me. You'll ride in my van. I've had unsaved guys all the time in my vehicle sitting. I just say, now here's what I want you to do. I want you to sit there and look in the rearview mirror, make sure we got all 4 cars still behind us, or everyone there. So I kind of give them a little responsibility, but we don't do a background check on them. Once someone has been involved in our ministry for a longer period, and we have some other standards on that, we do background checks. So anyway, if you have any questions on that, you can put that out there. But free parents, yeah, getting the parents involved. Again, here's a picture of Adrian and I think her name was Natasha that came there. Just this idea of spending time with the parents, having moms and dads that are there doing stuff. This guy here's a banker, and I finally got him to take a day off. He's one of them workaholic kind of guys, and he got to spend time with his daughter. They recently relocated to the Phoenix area. Called me the other day. They're just so excited about being involved with the day camps and just what it meant to their girls and stuff, spending time. But letting moms and dads come for free is something that you want to do. It allows you then to solicit and actively go after those, kind of what we might call bus parents, moms and dads that are, they're not real tied into things in the church, but it's like, hey, we're doing something on Tuesday. If you could get off work, it would really be great. Spend the whole day with your kid. We're going to cook a hot dogs on a stick and do marshmallows and all that kind of stuff. You would, it would be a tremendous benefit for you. And they're like, yes, it would. I need to do that. And we have people, in fact, I sent a text picture yesterday when I was going through some pictures here of a mom and her kid, and I probably should have put it in there. And I sent it to the mom, and she goes, "Oh, what a great memory!" And it was like 5 years old. She goes, "Oh, that was a while back. My kid is taller than me now, and that type of thing." And she's like, "And when are the dates? When are the day camps?" And we have all sorts of people call us. When are the dates? When are those day camps? So anyway, great thing, getting the parents in there for free. That's a secret weapon that you're going to love. So, all right, free parents. All right. And the last one is adventure. Just adventure. You need to do something fun with these kids. And it's an experience together. And I understand the word experience gets a lot of pushback in churches, but we're not actually in a church, okay? So we're not talking about, weird, charismatic type experiences or, things like that. We're talking about just doing things that they've never done before. Not baseball. We never play baseball. We never play soccer. We've played Frisbee a couple times, like Frisbee golf, like see if you can hit the tree and then hit the outhouse and then hit the whatever. We've done some of those kind of things, but cool and different things. Let me put my glasses on here because I always see these so closely. This is a hanging bridge. We found this bridge. It's only like 30, 40 miles from my church, and we all got on the bridge and took pictures there. I got all sorts of pictures of the kids by themselves on the bridge coming across. We took those pictures and then went, and I'll talk about this in the follow-up, followed up with those parents and showed them their kid on a hanging bridge. We've done rappelling. You can see how steep the rock is right here. There is really no danger the way that we have done this. We make sure we keep everything very safe and all that. But for them, it was like, man, I went rappelling. It was like so cool. Just doing things out of the ordinary. Here's one. Okay, we taught everybody how to drink out of a cooler when there was no cups. Now this may sound stupid, okay, but this was one of our guys demonstrating how to do it, and we made the kids get in line and go over there and squirt the water in their face, and it was absolutely a blast. Here's one. This is an irrigation tube where the water for that waters these fields goes through this tube, and you can see it's got little handrails on it. We call it the tube of terror, and we were going to walk across the tube of terror, and we had some people there making sure they didn't fall. You can see it was so much fun. They got to do that kind of adventure. Here's another way of when they wanted water. I said, you come up here, I'll give you some. Okay, this kid here, he just graduated from high school, called me just the other day. Hey, can we talk? I mean, he's still a friend to this day, probably because I poured water up his nose there. So hiking and seeing some beautiful vistas, hiking to the top of this particular rock, and there's actually, I don't know if I got a picture of it, might have it here in a minute, there's a wind cave up here. We found a place where the wind blows through and chopped a hole through this sandstone, and it's actually cool. We went up there and took pictures of all the kids in the wind cave. It was the neatest thing that you ever did see. We took the kids out to windmills. We have a lot of these in our area. We went out to the field, and that's about as close as we got, so we stayed safe. We took a picture of every kid with a windmill in the background. Then we went to their houses later and said, hey, we got a picture of your kid. And parents see these all the time, but no one ever gets really that close to them. So it was cool. We took the kids through this field of grass. We found this grass that's like, you can see it's almost 6 feet tall. And we played in the grass and ran around and hid. It was just something they had never, ever done before. And this is what I mean by adventure. Find some things. This is not expensive to do. Just find a big field. Okay, here, a lot of you probably could do this. Every kid was, had a life preserver on. There was 2 adults in the boat and 2 kids, and we rode them back and forth. It was so much fun. Here's a jumping contest. I got at the bottom of the hill, and I said, all right, boys, I want to see who can jump the farthest in this. It was kind of a sand area there, and they went jumping off the sand as far as, and then we measured it, and the winner is, that kind of stuff. It was just absolutely great. Here's the wind cave. This is one of them. This is actually like 80 feet up in the air on that cliff I just showed you. You have to hike over to. It's really tricky to get to, but adventure. You want to build in adventure for these kids, and they will never forget when they went up to the wind cave or they did whatever bizarre thing that you had them do. This is a favorite. Do it all the time. This is a tunnel. Okay, or a culvert, little stream going through it. This actually goes under Interstate 80 in the mountains here of Wyoming. We walked every kid through the water. I mean, it's only like 4 inches of water, and walked them through the culverts. And it's like they never forgot it. And when they drive by, they go, hey, I walked down through that culvert under there. And with my church, my pastor, et cetera, et cetera. Here's one where there was just a big crack, and we made everybody kind of jump the crack to get to the other side. You could have walked up 50 feet around and got it, but we were there kind of spotting them and making sure they did it. I held their hand. They took a big jump. It was so much fun, and you can do that kind of stuff. Here's one where it's just one of those old crossbuck fences, and I said, hey, let's take a picture. Everybody stand on the fence. And so they all tried to stand on this old wooden fence. It was just kind of a cool thing to do. It took us a while before we got, even that many up there. By the way, there's a mom or a dad with a couple kids right there in the very front. That dad just emailed me a couple days ago. He's moved away, far away now, another state, but he's like, hey, how you doing? When are the day camps? We may drive back to your state to go to the day camps. They did last year. They came, from Colorado up to Wyoming to be on the day camps. Here's another bridge I found. This is a hanging bridge, just a really cool thing. And we took everybody across the bridge, and everybody got their pictures taken. It was just so much fun. And by the way, you take these pictures, then you go to their homes afterwards. Here is a cave we found, and kind of it's not a touristy cave. It's just one you crawl in yourself. You can kind of see it. It's totally safe. The thousands of people been in there. You go all the way back in there, about 800 feet in, crawling through this kind of stuff. And there's carvings from the 1800s. We took all the kids in there in smaller groups to see the carvings from the 1800s. It was a blast, absolutely a blast. In fact, here's some of the kids. They just came out, still got their helmets on and their little headlights on, and those little bitty kids went caving in there. And we had moms and dads. This was one of the highest things. Can we go caving again? Can we do that? They did adventure together. It's just a lot of fun. Here's what it looks like. Well, you can see the date on that camera stamp there, July 15th. Okay. Yeah, we still have snow up here. We took all the kids up here, and I taught them on that hill how to sled on a trash bag. We just carried black trash bags up there, and you got up there and you sit on the bag and slide all the way down. It was just absolutely a blast. We had a huge snowball fight, but adventure, you want to think of adventure and have that stuff. Here's a simple adventure. We just laid a log across this, and we walked these kids across this little stream here, and you can see how deep the stream is. It's hardly up to my ankles, okay? And we got 3 or 4 people there helping the kids across, but that was so much adventure for them. I want you not to forget that you can do this anywhere in America. I had a guy call the other day, and he says, now, I just don't think we can do all that. We just don't have all that kind of stuff. It's like, oh yeah, you can. You just got to think it through. So anyway, that is the last one. That is the adventure. So let me jump to these, okay? Staffing, registration, finances, transportation, meals, and follow-up. And we're running short on time. And if you have any questions, I want you to go ahead and put those in there, and please add those in. And I see some coming up that have to do with the, anything that we have covered. Staffing, the first thing. How do you staff this? We primarily, and by the way, when we started these, I was the only quote unquote paid person. I still work a lot of secular jobs, I'm still not hardly paid. But you know what I mean? I was a full-time pastor. Our secretary came, my wife came, we had a couple other people, and then we had parents. Parents became our staff, and we asked our trusted parents, could you come and be responsible for helping set up the hot dog sticks or cooking the meal or bring the marshmallows or whatever. That was an important thing. For registration, we simply create a little card. It looks kind of like this. This one's not quite exactly the same, but we create and we just have name, all that stuff. Main thing is any allergies, and the second main thing is emergency contact information for their parents, where they would be during the day if there was some type of a problem. Down in here, we have a medical release, so that we can take the kids to the hospital and, of course, attempt to get hold of the parents first. And we've only had to go to the hospital like once with some kid had a appendicitis or something like that. We also have a photo release in there where we let them, they sign off that we can use pictures of their kids, for the whole thing. So one of these, we fill it out. The parents fill one of these out too, and sometimes with their children's cell phone numbers. And then we take, one thing we do on registration is we take every cell phone number and we write them on a single sheet of paper. And we kind of have this starts a couple days ahead of time, because these are all coming in. We start like 3 weeks ahead of time. So we have this single sheet of paper that is done, and every driver of every vehicle, plus somebody back at the church, has every phone number of every single person and every emergency contact thing. They're all on one sheet of paper. And so when I'm driving my vehicle, if we get lost, which is, I'm usually driving first, and I look back and like, where'd everybody go? And like they fork in the road, they went some other way. It's like, oh no, we've had that happen. Guess what? I got this thing with all their numbers on it, so we're able to just call and try to find the people. So that's a very important thing. And then we leave that at the church with a person, and sometimes it's not necessarily a staff person at the church, but it is a trusted parent or whatever, and they are the emergency contact. If we have a major disaster, a major breakdown, and we're 60 miles away from the church and we can't get back or whatever, they are the contact person, and everything would kind of feed through that if we had something like that. So that's how we do the registration. On the finances, as I mentioned, we collect $15 ahead of time. That buys them a nice t-shirt. They wear the t-shirt at that day camp and the rest of the day camps the entire summer. And what we have found out is they wear the t-shirt about every other day. And so you're promoting your church, and they're paying $15 for a t-shirt and the meal. And let me just jump down to meals real quick here and talk about that. And if you got any other questions, go ahead and add those things in here too. And we'll try to get to the Q&A time here in just a second. Finances. The money pays for, we have them bring a sack lunch, and then we give them a meal. So we have hot dogs on a stick with marshmallows, nothing fancy, hot dogs, maybe a bag of chips, a little bit of Kool-Aid or water, real simple. If you put the ladies in charge, they'll have all sorts of veggie sticks and all sorts of things, and if that works for you, that's fine. But we try to make it simple so it's easier to happen every time, and it's not like, oh, this big complex, potluck kind of meal. We just don't have that. We give a granola bar to them in the morning, maybe a little juice box if we have something like that, if it's a really hot day. We do the freezer pops sometimes if we're out hiking, doing something, we all go back, they got freezer pops, and everybody gets two or three of those Otter Pop type things. So that's what the $15 pays for. That helps pay for some of the gas. Transportation, and I see we have a question. Let me grab this one quick while we're right in the middle on transportation. How do you navigate? Okay, click on the little thing so I can read the whole deal here. How do you navigate the vehicles? Who can ride with who, especially brand new visitors you don't know? Very good. These are really good questions. Let me tell you how we do the transportation. Transportation, and I'm going to tell you how we've done transportation. We now have a new problem coming up in June. Our first day camp, we're shifting our theory a little bit because of the COVID-19 deal. But transportation generally works this way. Everybody signs up ahead of time. We know absolutely everybody that is coming before this thing starts. So there's no walk-in. So in other words, you have to sign up the Sunday before. Boom, we're done. No one else is coming in. We know we have 32 kids, which includes 7 adults and X number of vehicles. And we talk to the parents and find out what vehicles they have. We have a couple of church vans that we use. They work really well. But we like it when parents drive their own vehicles. That works well too. Lots of parents can then bring a younger kid with them. They might have a 3 or 4 year old that wouldn't normally come, but since the parents are coming, we let them come. And again, that creates that family event. Since we know who is coming, and since we have talked to them ahead of time, we ask them, say, like, we're going to try to put someone else in your vehicle. We may mix the kids up a little bit. Is that okay? Occasionally they'll have a child that say, well, my kid really needs a ride with me. It's like, oh, that's fine. But if we can put someone else in there, and then we put someone that needs to be like a new kid, needs to be in with a stronger mom and dad or a stronger authority there. We also then have our teenagers, and they are strategically placed in every vehicle. They do not all ride together. We don't turn into teen activity where they're all just yakking and playing on their phones. We want them to serve. I meet with them ahead of time and I say, you're going to ride with these kids. I want you to get to know their names. I want you to know their dog's names, their goldfish name. I want you to know everything about that kid. I want you to ask them 100 questions. And I go through some things to kind of help get them going. I want you to tell them stories about when you were a kid and when you went on the last day camp. You tell them stories. And so that creates this car that is driving filled with growing, budding relationships. And it is really a great way to do it. So we divvy everybody up. One thing we do then is we put on their hand like T because they're in Tom's car, an M because they're in Mike's car, that type of thing, or CV. Mine's usually CV, which stands for church van. And everybody gets a mark on the back of their hand. So when we're sorting everything out, they all go back in the same vehicles. No one switches vehicles ever. we keep them all together. On the transportation thing, just to let you know though, we always have an egress plan, and that is if we lost a vehicle, in other words, we blew an engine on something, and we might be 50 miles up into the mountains or some secluded place, so kind of might be a little different where you live. But when we're way out there, you break down, there's no help. You got to all cram into another vehicle. So we have enough empty spaces in all the vehicles to take whatever the largest vehicle is and spread those people back out. And we don't pack the vehicles real tight. So my church van, it's a 15 passenger van, but I rarely take 15. I usually have the back seat out and it's filled with food and have like 8 or 9 in there. And then if need be, and we've had a flat tire, we've had a couple blowouts, I had one slide off the road once, that type of thing. We're able to put those kids in that vehicle and go back. Or if we have to egress for a medical emergency, we are ready to, take someone back to a hospital and all that. So that's how we handle the transportation on that. People drive their own vehicles. We don't really have any problem with that. We put the brand new kids with somebody that they do know, someone of their age group. So we'd have the cars are generally like a whole bunch of, third and fourth grade girls over here, and fifth grade boys over there. We kind of sort of keep them where they're going to talk and kind of the same age group and gender, that type of thing, or family. So, all right. Hey, Brother Don, good to have you here from New Mexico. All right. God bless you, brother. All right. Finances, transportation, meals. I think we covered meals. Now let's talk about follow-up, and then we've got to be done here in a few minutes. If you got any other questions, you can put those in. We'll hit a little Q&A at the end here. Follow-up. Follow-up is one of the most important things with any of these activities, and we do a couple things that work really, really well. One is I personally like to drop the kids off and be there when they go home. So I pull up to their house, pull in their driveway, if I have the church van, and the kids get out, I walk them to the door, and they're going, Dad, you wouldn't believe what we did. We went to blah, blah, we did that, we did that. And I'm right there while all that's happening. And then the mom or dad's like, thank you so much for taking my kids for 12 hours. I really appreciate it. And I always then say, hey, we got some really good pictures of your kids. Would I be okay if I came back and showed you, like your kid, he went rappelling, or I got a picture of him, in a snowball fight. Would you like that? Yes, Pastor, please come back. How about Tuesday? Would that work? Or next Friday? Yeah, that would be great. Tomorrow afternoon? Sure. Okay. You can walk right into these houses. And I have done it on, I don't have my phone here, but I've done it on a phone, I've done it on an iPad, where you just go back. We also have printed many times. We take really good staged photos. So like the kids in that wind cave, we took pictures of those kids, and every parent got a picture of their kid in the wind cave. They'll stick it on the refrigerator. It'll be there for a long time. So this is how you avoid getting the door slammed in your face kind of thing. This is how you get into people's houses, is you spend time right there saying, can I come back and can I show you some pictures? We also post some pictures on Facebook. We never tag the names of the children. We just don't ever do that at any level of our ministry. That's something that we've already told our people we don't do. But we put pictures on Facebook. The parents then who have been there, they'll go, look what and we encourage them. Hey, when we're going home, it's like, all right, everyone's heading home here now. We're going to meet the church, and then we'll make sure we get all our stuff, and we'll go home. Make sure you get your pictures up on Facebook yet tonight. And there'll be hundreds of photos will flood our community, flood the families, the grandparents of all that, of all these kids with their t-shirts of this massive, cool activity that was run by Sinclair Baptist Church. And it's just such an impact. And we've got known now as the church for people with kids. We're just the church for people with kids. If you got kids, take your kids out to Sinclair Baptist. That's where people with kids go to church. And so it's just really has just snowballed in a great way. So that is tremendous follow-up. The other thing that we do is we tell the parents, hey, we have a great thing on Sunday morning at 9:30. We've got a service, and we're going to be showing a video of all the kids and all the day camp, and we would love for you to come at 9:30. You think you could maybe make it? Well, we haven't been to church in a long time. Honey, what do you think? Yeah, let's go. And yep, There they are. They show up at church on Sunday morning, and we show a video. Now, this is something personal our church does a little bit different during like an offertory type time. Instead of having someone play the piano or do a special music, we show photographs and pictures of kids and our youth events. We do this all the time, almost every Sunday. There are videos and pictures of our kids, and we put a little slideshow together. You can do it on Keynote or you can do it on PowerPoint. And we have great music in the background, you know, some music that would be our standard that we would love. We play that in the background, and they are able to watch their kid, and it goes from kid to kid to kid, and all the different photos. And you know, we get, you know, maybe 100 and some photos up there that are kind of, you know, dissolving in and out and coming up, you know, like you can do on a computer now. And we show that on Sunday morning. And people just say, can I get a copy of that? Can I do? I mean, they just absolutely go bonkers. And this is how you reach young families. Okay. So with this kind of follow-up, so you do this acquisition event. Okay. You do the event where you can get them going, and then boom, you follow that thing up and get into their houses. So, all right, question and